Okay, good afternoon, everyone. It is 1:29 p.m. on January 10th of 2019. I'd like to call to order the public meeting of the New York State Board of Parole for January 10th of 2019. Happy New Year, everyone. Public notice for this meeting is on our Department of Corrections and Community Supervision website, as well as posted in all three locations where we are video conferencing from today: the Buffalo office, the New York City office, and the Albany office. I'd like to begin by calling the roll, starting with the Buffalo office. Please state your names.
Commissioner Joe Pringle, Commissioner Parole.
Thank you. And the New York City office.
Commissioner Otis Cruz.
Carol Shapiro, Karen Demosthenes.
Charles Davis.
Thank you. And here in Albany, you have myself, Chairwoman Stanford.
Ton Agostini, Commissioner.
Eric Berliner, Commissioner.
Kathy Kiley, Counsel to the Board of Parole.
Rocio Villa.
Also joining us from Counsel's office.
Elliot McIntosh, Associate Counsel.
Sean Basheen, Assistant Counsel.
And also present is Special Assistant to the Chair. State your name for the record, please.
Chelsea Misvary.
Thank you. Based upon the numbers present in the three locations, we have a quorum. Our total number of board members presently assigned and appointed is 12. We have, and for the record, there are no members of the public present in any of the three locations that I can see. Is that correct?
That is correct.
No one here in Buffalo.
Thank you. We have one item of business for today's meeting, and that is to vote regarding proposed regulations. At this time, I'm going to recognize our counsel, Kathy Kiley, to provide some background for our vote today.
Okay. In November of 2018, you were all given copies of the regulations that we are voting on today. It's 9 NYCRR 8002.6, which has to do with how time assessments are calculated. You also received 9 NYCRR 8003.2, which has to do with the standard conditions. And then also you received 9 NYCRR 8005.20, which also has to do with the parole guidelines. Everybody got a copy of that, correct? Actually, multiple copies, as I recall.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, good. All right, so that is what we're going to be voting on today, to vote on these proposed regulations, to put them into, or actually submit them to the state register for publication. That will be published on January 30th in the state register. And then the proposed regulations will also be posted on the New York State Docs website. So, they will go in the state register for a 60-day comment period, and then I'll address the rest of it after we do the vote.
Okay. Thank you. Is everyone ready for the question? All in favor of the proposed regulations, please indicate
Aye.
by show of hands and by saying aye.
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 Are we voting on all of them at this time?
All together.
All together.
Yes.
If there was any question with any one item, this is not an opportunity to do that. I wasn't here in November.
Well, what question do you have?
I'm sorry. In 8003.2, number 2, reads, I will not leave the state of New York or any other state to which I am released or transferred. And then it says, or any area defined in writing by my parole officer without permission. And in my experience, there are geographical boundaries sometimes that are set in the way by using conditions. This says that you will not leave that area as defined by the parole officer, when normally it's an area of restriction where you're not to enter in parole, once on parole, not necessarily leave. So for the state, to not leave the state, I understand that. But the add up or any area defined, one wouldn't be leaving in the same regard.
Would that be considered a special condition, though? I will not enter this area?
Yeah.
And so, could it be satisfied with a special condition, your concern?
It could be satisfied by a special condition. And normally that is.
That's what it is. 27 geographic, I think we covered that. I'm not
Correct.
sure, but I think so.
Well, I was thinking primarily in the sense of confining sex offenders' entrances to areas that was typical of the instant offense.
Mm-hmm.
So you might, in New York, for example, you might say bounded by Avenue A on the east side.
Again, that would be probably in a special condition.
Mm-hmm. And certainly something that could be imposed.
If I could just add,
Yes,
the
please.
language in that condition is identical to current condition number 3.
So it's not different. It has not been changed.
Okay.
Okay. So we have voted, and then we have a unanimous vote.
I'm sorry, I didn't ask.
Oh,
Are there
sorry.
any nays? I didn't see any hands that, well, I take that back. Let's do the vote again, because there was a question that
Yes.
interrupted the vote, and Commissioner Cruz did not vote. So, all in favor of the proposed regulations as presently constructed and given to you, please indicate by saying aye and a show of hands.
Aye.
Aye. Are there any nays? Okay, the motion is carried unanimously by all commissioners present. Council Kylie?
Okay. As I mentioned before, this will be put in the state register on January 30th, and also the regulations will be posted to the New York State Docs website, and they will be found under legal and law rules and regulations. If there were public comments can be submitted via email to rules@docs.ny.gov, and there's also an address that will be posted in the state register in case anybody wants to mail comments or they need copies of the proposed regulations. And once the 60-day comment period is over, we'll assess the comments.
Okay. At this point, I just want to put on the record that our next meeting, our next regular business meeting will be January 28th of 2019 at 1 p.m. And as is usual, that will be at the Department of Corrections and Community Supervision Training Academy here in Albany, New York. I have sent invitations to that meeting to everyone. If you haven't already responded, please review your invitation and respond as soon as possible. And with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion made by Commissioner Berliner, second appears by Commissioner Shapiro. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any nays? Okay, thank you. We are adjourned.